Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner, Precinct 1.
Present.
Devin Allen, Commissioner, Precinct 2. Here. Gary Fickus, Commissioner, Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner, Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation today will be delivered by Minister Steve Florer from the Southside Church of Christ. Thank you so much for being here today. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges.
Let us bow. Almighty God and Creator of the world, we thank you for this moment that we can pause and we can remember that we are created beings and that we breathe and we live and we move and we find purpose in you. And so, Lord, we ask as we begin this day and begin this session that you would give us your wisdom and that you would give us your strength, give us your courage in the conversations that we're going to have, in the decisions that are going to be made, and all that we have ahead of us today. We need your help because you're our Creator, and so we ask that you would help us today. Lord, we are thankful this morning for all of our government workers. We're thankful for our judge and our commissioners and also all the employees of our county. And as we recognize some of them today, we are thankful for their hard work and service to the people and as they care about the public, and we thank you for them. We ask that our government would be an example for others to see that we can talk about difficult subjects, but we can do it with decency and respect, love and grace, and help that to be on display today and many days after this. Lord, we recognize that you're a good God and you're benevolent to all of us, and for that we are grateful. And as the psalmist says, in you is the fountain of life, and in your light do we see light. And so, Lord, we ask that in all that we do today, may we see with your light what you ask of us today. We pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have one announcement as it relates to the agenda this morning, and that concerns human resources, item 9G4. We're going to hold that, and we'll be bringing it back to you shortly. Thank you, Your Honor. I do think that it should be recognized that Commissioner Johnson, did you get my check today?
I got your check.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let the record show he ain't got mine yet, but he's going to get it. Before you get into it, because I know you're going to get into that list here in a minute. And so I just thought I'd go ahead and take a preemptive strike here.
I just happened to bring that.
I thought you might. It's getting to be that kind of time of year. Court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of January the 29th.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We have a proclamation or resolution this morning for the American Heart Month, and I believe we have volunteer Connie Kerr who is here, and is Cammie Thompson, the executive director, was she able to? Don't see her. She may be circling the lot trying to find a place to park. And then Crystal Sands. Okay, Connie, come on down. And I'll read this into the record, and then we'll go from there. Whereas the first American Heart Month was proclaimed by President Lyndon Baines Johnson in February 1964, and whereas at that time more than one-half of the deaths in the U.S. were caused by cardiovascular disease, and whereas heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States, currently affecting more than 1 in 3 adults and is projected to raise to 43.9% of adults in the U.S. by 2030. And whereas the risk factors for heart disease are smoking, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity, physical inactivity, diabetes, a family history of early heart disease, and age. And whereas staying healthy and promoting awareness of health issues, including heart health, is an important responsibility and depends on the actions of many organizations and groups in our community. And whereas the American Heart Association encourages men and women to take charge of their health and schedule a visit with their doctor to learn about health status and risk for diseases. And whereas Tarrant County encourages everyone to make heart health a priority for themselves and their families, become aware of their heart disease risk, and take action to control their risk. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby recognize February 2019 as American Heart Month in Tarrant County, and further we encourage the citizens of Tarrant County to work together promoting and improving their health by increasing awareness and understanding of heart disease and prevention. In witness whereof, we have here to set our hands and cause the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 5th day of February 2019, and I will move its approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And let me bring this. Where's Vinny?
He is out.
He's out. Well, I coughed. I want him to be sure he saw what I coughed. Right.
I saw you cough the right way.
Okay. Wait a minute. We got 3 more. Who do we have coming down here?
Tammy Thompson with the
Hi,
Art
Tammy, how are
Association.
you?
Judge Whitley, how
You
are
were doing a
you?
circle in the block. No, you
Yes.
you got to get in the middle.
Okay,
I'm not
great.
gonna
Thank
do
you.
this yet. Okay, we're gonna get 3 more pictures.
Okay.
It'll flash at least 3 times if you can't move the.
Okay.
Thank y'all for coming.
Thank y'all so much.
Ready to say a few things?
Yes, I would love to.
Go right ahead.
Well, thank you. Is the award here?
Yes, there is.
There it is. So, thank you so much for making this proclamation to us for the American Heart Month. We are so glad that all of you are here today. We are very dedicated to the health of the residents of Tarrant County. We're doing everything we can to ensure that they have heart healthy. One of the things that we work on very diligently is the health of employees in our city and county governments. And so it is my honor to also announce that Tarrant County has been awarded the Silver Workplace Health Award for workplace health. So give them a round of applause. They are one of only 3 in the city who have made this monumental award effort. I know it's great. And that means that they have put into place measures that will help ensure that everybody has the opportunity to make the healthy choice when they're making choices about their food or their exercise. And it also shows that they made progress in actually getting employees to be healthy. And so, congratulations.
Thank you
on
very
that
much.
award. Yes.
And I've got another, this is just a little paper copy of that.
Great.
And so again, thank you all very much for being here. We're gonna, and y'all remember this when it comes time to sign up for the Art Walk this year.
Yes.
So we want everybody, we want to triple the size of what we had last year. It was a little, as I recall, it was a little rainy.
Just a little bit rainy. Just a
I
little
was
bit.
floating.
We moved it back a weekend, thinking maybe that would help. Maybe the sun will be out on that weekend.
I hope so.
Yes.
But we were out, there was a lot of us out there, if you were out there last year, raise your hand. In the rain.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
It was blessed. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Fickus, I bet you have something you want to say.
I do. Friday is our 10th annual Northeast Transportation Summit. You might see one of these flyers laying around. It starts at 8 in the morning. It's at the Hearst Conference Center. We have a little breakfast before, and then we have a great luncheon. We have a great luncheon speaker going to be talking about high-speed rail and from Texas Central Railways. And we're going to be talking about autonomous cars and self-driving cars and bicycles, electric bikes, and scooters, and airplanes that break the sound barrier but don't make any noise.
I haven't figured that one out either.
But they're doing it, and they're doing it right here in Tarrant County. Or some people are. So anyway, it's going to be a great day for transportation. So come on out. We've still got some seats available, and so hope to see you there. Hearst Conference Center starts at 8 a.m. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson, are you ready for your shaming?
No, I'm going to give you 1 week grace.
Thank you. Now, it's up to everybody in my office to make sure I show up next week with a checkbook. I guess if I don't, they can make up my pledge. So,
Yeah, I bet that works.
So, are you going to hold that check that I just gave you for a week, or you want me to?
You mean that little check that I squeezed out of you this morning?
You know, I hate to tell my kids they're not getting shoes.
thank you. Again, Commissioner Johnson does this each year and has been a foundation supporter of the Tarrant County Junior Livestock Exchange, and we appreciate very much the other 50 weeks out of the year when he's not killing us for contributions. And they appreciate him very, very much, because every child or every kid who puts an exhibit into that thing gets money, and otherwise that would not be the case. And so we appreciate very much everything you've done in that regard.
I'll tell you something else he does. You know, he's a pretty smart guy. If you give him $100, he'll buy an animal, and the kid gets the money. And then you know what he does? He takes that kid's animal and he sells it to somebody, and they give him money. And then he takes that money and he buys some more animals.
So he keeps leveraging.
I mean, he's got a scandal.
Sounds like a Ponzi scheme.
I'm not sure I would.
But
I'm not sure I'd use the word scam.
These kids that are involved in 4-H and livestock programs all over the county. So
Well, we appreciate that.
But the kids are the ones that
they win.
Yes. Prostate.
Prostate cancer, 5th annual Healthy Lives Matter prostate cancer education and screening event, free to all. And I want to thank this court for finally we were able to get included in the county's wellness assessment a prostate cancer screening. That took us a while, but we got there. And I would venture to tell you that part of the reason that we're number 3 on that list the lady was talking about healthy organizations, is things like that. But knowing your prostate cancer health status is important. Early detection is essential because it gives you options. Come out on Saturday, February 16th from 10 to 1 o'clock at the Moncrief Cancer Care Institute on Magnolia Avenue. They're a great community partner in our healthcare system. We'll be there, and we will treat you right, give you breakfast and lunch and some education and some screening, and it's all free.
Thank you. Okay, now comes the entertainment for the month. Employee recognition. For you newbies, you 5-year folks, the thing you want to just really be aware of is where you are in the alphabetical order and what may sound like your name. And I'm going to tell you, some of y'all need to be really listening this month. If you know that's where you're supposed to be, stand up regardless if it sounds like your name or not. And we'll get all that grouped up, and then we'll thank y'all, and then y'all can sit down and we'll move to the next group. So our first group is our 5-year employees. Our first one is Stacy Behammer. She's not here. She's with Elections. Then Sharon Busey, Juvenile Services. Wayne Costin, Sheriff's Department. Michael Espinoza, Tax Office. Caron Gaines, Sheriff's Department. Carla Gracias, Tax Office. But you knew that you're grinning, so you just knew where you were in the alphabet, because I don't think I got anywhere near. Yin Yin Gu, or Ga, Information Technology. I hope she's not here. David Knott, Sheriff's Department. Suri Muka, Information Technology. You go ahead and give me your attempt at the first name. Suri. Lutz Rodriguez, District Clerk's Office. Nancy Simpson, Juvenile Services. Maria Torres, Tax Office. Michael Trepa, Sheriff's Department. These are our 5-year employees. Let's give them a hand. Thank y'all. Y'all can be seated. Now for our 10-year employees. Fayez Ali, Sheriff's Department. I must have been close. Lindsay Baker, 322nd District Court. Yeah, this is going to be tough. Rebecca Barksdale, Precinct 3. Your Christmas card came back to me, so I obviously don't have the right address. You might see somebody afterwards in my office. Sonia Barrett, Sheriff's Department. Jack Campbell, Precinct 4. Maria Castro, Public Health. Kathy C. Okay, go ahead.
June Company.
Kathy C. Public Health. Janet Denton, Domestic Relations Office. Janet Denton. That's easy. Those 2 easy ones. Michelle Farrell, District Clerk. There's Michelle. Paula Ford, District Clerk. Wallace Foy, Constable 2. James Hunter, the Tax Office. James. Nicolette Januski, Public Health. Claudia Lopez, Juvenile Services. Mark Littleton, Sheriff's Department. Rashawn Morton, Sheriff's Department. Becky Parton, County Court at Law Number 1. Vicki Smith, Public Health. Let's give these 10-year employees a hand. Now for our 15-year employees. George DeCombre, Juvenile Services. Russell Everidge, Juvenile Services. Eddie Hargroves, Criminal District Attorney's Office. Ramona Harris, Sheriff's Department. Gary Hart, Sheriff's Department. Scott Holland, Facilities Management. Raquel James, Sheriff's Department. Gerald Mock, Constable Precinct 4. Michael Neves, Sheriff's Department. Paul O'Bannon, Sheriff's Department. Amy Renfro, Medical Examiner's Office. Karen Stiles, Sheriff's Department. These are our 15-year employees. Let's give them a hand. Now for our 20-year employees. First is Janice Freeman, Criminal Courts Administration. Rebecca Hernandez, Public Health. Mona Hill, Juvenile Services. Nicole Houston, Domestic Relations. Alfred Kinsey. Yeah, well, whichever way, I'm sure it's probably wrong both times. Constable Precinct 4. James Noley, County Auditor. James, sorry. Arlene Shorter, Probate Court number 2. These are our 20-year employees. Let's thank them. Now for our 25-year plus, I call and talk with them, and I really enjoy that time. I mean, I try to do it on the weekends because I kind of feel like if I do it on the weekends, they'll be away from the routine of the office. When I did it, and I still do a number of times, talk with them when they're in the office, sometimes I hear people in the background kind of, making fun or so it's sometimes easier if I'll just come up and do it on the weekend. Sometimes I'll wait till the weekend's almost over, as many of y'all can attest this time. But our first one is Charles Dewar with Facilities Management. Where's Charles? There he is. I started in Facilities Management area in the Correction Center, then went to the carpenter shop up off North Commerce and has been there for, I guess, close to 20 years. When I asked him about memorable moments, he said, he really noticed a difference, and he really felt like that the department changed when David took over. And I think he meant that to be good. He said, I feel like that I have, that I work hard, and I hope that I'm an asset to the county. He said, I like to help the young folks as they've come to the county and to try to get into this. He said it's great benefits. His wife passed away, I think, a few years ago, and he said the county was just great. The family just came around me and really helped me, really supported and really helped me during that time frame. He said, I will just tell you, it's been a pretty good life for these last 25 years. And Charles, we appreciate very much your service to Tarrant County. Thank you. Next is Tamara Haley with the Sheriff's Office Patrol. And there she is. Started out in the Sheriff's Department in Belknap as a clerk. Was a jailer there in the Corrections Center. Went through the Police Academy. Spent some time on the back door in booking. And then went to Green Bay. Then she went out into patrol. She had hurt her back at one point in time. And that, was something that was very limiting. She actually decided that she still wanted to work with the county. She took a voluntary demotion and still is in patrol as a secretary in patrol. When I asked her what she liked most, she said it was just the experiences that she had dealing with people, helping people. She said, when we're on call, we never know what that next call is going to be. And she related an example of a man who called, and she could tell, and he basically said he was thinking about committing suicide. And she was able to kind of talk with him, find out where he was, and work through that with him until someone could get there to kind of help him out. She said, I just never know when I'll have a chance to help someone or to make their day a little better. I asked her, she said, I'll tell you how I came to the Sheriff's Department. She said she has horses. She had boarded her horse with someone, and when she was there one day, that person told her that she ought to look at working for the Sheriff's Department, and she did, and she does. She's very grateful to everyone who's helped her in the county along the way. We appreciate very, very much the 25 years of service you've given to us. Next is Denise Hampton with the Sheriff's Office. There she is back there.
She's excited, so we didn't think she'd make it.
What, you didn't think she'd make it 25 years?
She'd make it, so that's why she's excited.
Oh. She started with the Sheriff's Department in the Belknap Jail. She's been out to Green Bay and Cold Springs. She's now over at Lon Evans. When I asked her what her most memorable job was, she says, it's when they told me I had the job. And she said, you know, I just wasn't sure, but she said, I was so happy to be able to come to work for the county. She said, I just absolutely love the people that I've had a chance to work with. She says, I love the county because I take every day just like it was something different, day to day. I don't get hung up on the past. I don't get hung up on, I come to work. I want to do my job. She said, I have got the greatest family. She says, I am a family person. And she said, my family is my biggest fans. We really, Denise, appreciate the 25 years you've given us. Thank you so much. Next is Kevin Miller, Juvenile Services. There's Kevin. Started out in the Sheriff's Department in Belknap, moved around the Sheriff's Department. His dad had worked for the county, and he at one point in time told him about this job out in Juvenile. He applied for it and became an officer in the STOP program in 2005. And now I think you're in the Northeast Field Office. He said a lot of things have happened in Tarrant County, and I get this a lot. It used to be they would tell me they'd tell me, oh, and they'd chuckle and say, I can't tell you that. And sometimes you get, well, there's been a lot of things happen, but it's confidential and I can't tell you that. So we're just going to leave it at a lot of things have happened. He said, I asked him what he liked most. He said, Tarrant County is, and you know, I want to thank all of y'all because I hear this over and over and over again about how much of a family Tarrant County employees are. His wife had been involved in a serious car accident, and again, the county family just came around and helped. And you know, if he needed to go someplace and do something, they were there to support and to help him make it through those. He said the county really tries to recognize and help its employees. And he said, of course, the benefits are great. He said, you know, I've had an opportunity to work in the jail with adults, and now I've had an opportunity to work in juvenile with the younger adults, with the kids. And he said, I enjoy working with the kids because I can just be a whole lot more hopeful that maybe I can help them change their lives. And I think that's what it's all about, and that's what each one of us want to do in whatever department we're in and however we're dealing with the public. It's to help them out at that particular time when they're coming in front of us. So, you know, it's just the way we are. And Kevin, thank you so much for the 25 years you've given to Tarrant County. Now, next is Yolanda Ramirez, and we had a great conversation over the weekend, but she had a family emergency, and that's probably more than from HIPAA than I'm supposed to say, because that's all I know. But she wasn't able to make it down here this morning, so we're going to postpone her, and you'll see her again soon. Next is, I feel a little bit nervous about this. I'm going to say don't save. Is Lydia Torres. Was I supposed to say Rosenbaum Torres? Okay, sorry about that. I wasn't exactly sure about that. Human Services. Now, Lydia graduated from UTA, and she said she was she's bilingual, and she said, I think that gave me an edge. I started out as a caseworker number 1, and she said I then moved, I've become a caseworker number 2, and that's where I've been happy. She said there's been times when, I could have applied to go up to a super. She said, but I just love working with people. Memorable moments. Lydia, for the longest time, lived about 75 miles away from work. Robin, you don't even live that far away from work. And so 150 miles round trip each day. Now, she said the day after she got the job, there was an ice storm. And she said, county never closes. And so she was driving in and ended up in a ditch. But she's here, still here after 25 years. She also said, that 75 miles either way gave her a chance to just kind of get herself organized, get herself ready, talk with the Lord, be ready to get into whatever she was going to get into in that particular day with Human Services. She says, I love working with clients. She said, I have made lifelong friends at the county. She said the county is so proactive at working together to get things done. And she says, I've seen in other counties and things that have happened in other counties, and most of the time, it's just not that way in other counties. And I believe that, and I believe the reason for that are those of y'all who are sitting in this room. Now, she indicated that she's going to be retiring in about a year, and she's going to be taking care of her parents, and she's already kind of got the land, and she's mapping out. And I got to say this, and you may get mad at me for saying this. Her parents are divorced. I'm saying more than I should ever say, so district attorney, get ready. They both have Alzheimer's. Now, she's not going to put them in the same house. Because I said, well, on a good day, when they realize who they are, do you think that could be a problem? And she said, no, she's not going to put them in the same house, but she's going to have them in the same 5-acre tract. But, she knows where she's going. She knows that she's going to be taking care of her parents, just as they took care of her when she was growing up. She said, I have worked hard for every paycheck, and that the county has provided me with a good retirement for working that way over these 25 years. Lydia, we cannot even begin to express to you how much we appreciate the 25 years of service you've given us. Thank you. Next, Brett Self. Where's Brett? There he is, the tall one. You have to scoot down a little bit so I can see the monitor. Started out in the auditing area in accounting, then moved up over the years, and he's the investment revenue accountant nowadays. He said, what I like most about the county is the great people I've had a chance to work with over the years. He said, I really enjoy all the folks. And I see him always helping. Whenever there's somebody who needs to reach up high, he's the guy that's there to pin up everything. He said the benefits have been great and are great. And he said, I really just can't say enough about the folks that I've had a chance to work with and work for over these 25 years. Brett, thank you very, very much for your time with the county. Next is Rodney Turner with Facilities. 25 years. There's Rodney. Started out in the county clerk's office when they created the recycling center, and started off as a full-time temp. Now, you figure that one out. But HR knows what that means. It means you don't get any benefits. Well, he'd been here for a while, and another department saw how well he was working, and they said, well, why don't you come to work for us? Well, Coleman Stanley was the assistant at that point in time, and Coleman said, nah, I'm not going to lose you. So he moved a permanent position, out to the recycling center that was vacant, and Rodney got that position. When I asked him about memorable moments, he said it's when the tornado hit. He said there was a whole lot of flooding and cleanup to do. And he said, we had boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff that we were trying to take care of. And then also that when Katrina hit, we got a lot of stuff in from Jackson, Mississippi. And they asked for our help first in trying to clean it up, dry it out, do those things, and then ultimately and eventually destroying a lot of it. When I asked him what he liked most, he said it was the benefits, it was the emphasis on family. When I asked him, how he found out about the county, he said, well, I had worked at another job with a gentleman by the name of Alan Williams, and that Alan had, when he heard that the recycling center was started up, had called me and said, you really are to consider applying for this job at the recycle center. He did it, and the rest is history. 25 years of history.
Yes, sir.
Rodney, thank you very much for your time. Now, the last person is Rodney Stockton. He's with the sheriff's and courts area, and he's spent 30 years with the county, and he's on vacation. And I called and talked with him, and he said, well, it's a staycation. And I thought about actually coming in, but then I said, nah. So when you see David next, thank him for his 30 years of service to Tarrant County. Collectively, 820 years we've just recognized here today. And that's an awful lot, and I want to thank you. We got pictures and cookies and pens back in 504C. Well, he's already, there he goes. I thought I'd already lost him, but he's running now. So, again, thank y'all very much for all of your service and for everything you do for Tarrant County. Thank you. Not one iota. Was he in town? Well, I'm supposed to get off for all.
Move approval.
Second.
Got motion and second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes Yeah, well, I guess it's 3-0 and 2 missing. Yep, they're still missing. Mr. Manius.
Just one additional announcement on the agenda. On the public hearings, item 8A, we're going to remove that from the agenda at this time. There was a misstep in the publications for that public hearing, and we will be bringing that back to you at a later time.
Ms. Tidwell.
Good morning.
Good morning. We have 2 items for the court's consideration this morning. The first is the approval and release of the depository collateral of the $300 million as outlined in your court communique.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And our
4-0.
And our other item is we're asking the court to receive and file the Tarrant County financial statements for the period ended October of 2018.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Ms. Glenn.
Receive and file personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the personnel agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Good morning and thank you. The next item is a waiver of terminal benefits for the district clerk's office. Mr. Wild is requesting a waiver of 169 vacation hours. The incumbent left with 265, so he's again requesting 169. We are looking at net savings, if this is approved in the general fund, of about $850. That does include fringe benefits.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second, just because I've been continuing to raise questions about the approval of waivers. I know that that person is just absolutely critical and that you can't wait another few days. Okay. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
The next item, item number 3, is actually connected to a closed door item. So if we could bring that one back after closed door, we'd be appreciative.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Beecham.
Did you skip number 3 there?
We're going to hold that one
Oh, okay.
till after closed.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My staff made me aware this is the year of the hog, that maybe why we clipped y'all 1 point Saturday in basketball.
Yeah, well.
We have 5 items for your consideration this morning. Our first item is a bid award recommendation for bid 2019-045. This is an annual contract for power washing for use by our Facilities Management Department. Recommendation be to award on a per enterprise basis, awarding to the primary, secondary, and alternate vendors as shown in your court communique.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our second item is an item we are seeking exemption from the competitive bidding requirements for the purchase of drug reagents, controls, equipment parts, and proficiency testing materials for the Public Health Department.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our third item is an item in regards to bid 2017-149. This was a bid for the Echo Lake Project Phase 3, awarded to Schmolt Construction under Court Order 125979. We are recommending cancellation of that initial award and seeking permission to rebid with revised specifications.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
That doesn't mean we get it back, does it?
No, we're not getting, no.
No, we're not taking it back.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 4 is an item in regards to RFP 2019-036. This was an RFP for employee drug and alcohol testing for the Human Resources Department. We are recommending rejection of proposals and seeking permission to reissue with revised specifications. I don't remember the last time this happened, if ever, but the commercial recorder did not advertise twice as required by state statutes. So we could not bring you an award recommendation because we've not met the state required legal advertising requirements.
Move approval, assuming that you had a chat with those.
Oh, yes, sir. We've chatted a couple of times.
Second.
Our motion is second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And our last item is an item in regards to bid 2019-061, the annual contract for mosquito control pesticides and products. We initially brought this to Commissioners Court on January 22nd, approved under Court Order 129442. Day after the award, we received notification from the vendor that they bid one of the wrong chemicals. There were a couple of mistakes made in the evaluation process, where alternative awards that we recommended were not equal. So with that in mind, we are asking that we rescind that initial court order and re-award on sections 1 and 2 to the primary, secondary, and alternate vendors as shown in court communique.
Move for approval.
Second.
Our motion is second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Now, I'm sorry, Jack. Let me. On that last item, I thought you said that we were going to rescind and we were going to award.
Re-award, yes, sir.
And that's on 5 or 4?
5.
Four. Item 4.
Well, I understand we did 4 already, but but 5. 5 says we're going to reject all proposals and we're going to reissue and revise.
Reject under the initial, under that court order 129442, and
the 4 and went back to.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Well, that's okay. I can. Thank you. We passed everything.
Go Hawks.
Arkansas.
Yeah, I know. It's the only thing you can chalk it up to. Are there any appointments today? There being none, then we are on briefing items. Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, we have 2 items to bring to you today. Item B is the legislative update. Mr. Schaffner has provided a memorandum to you. It's in your court packet. It's still somewhat slow, though there's been some major introductions. HB2 and SB2, which is the property tax reform, is one that was held in a press conference last Thursday, and so there's some detail on that. I believe you all are fully aware of that, those 2 bills. Also, it's my understanding that the governor is going to be giving his State of the State address today at noon.
I think it started at 10.
11, okay. So it's going on right now then, or about to start. And also just wanted to point out that last week we talked about HB 705 by Guerin. This is the sales tax issue. Krause has also introduced a bill somewhat similar to that, but it requires an election. That's HB 648. So we have at least 2 bills that talk about alternate revenue streams for the counties. So I'll attempt to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
I believe that the Senate is taking testimony on Senate Bill 2, which is the cap bill, tomorrow. And I fully expect that it will be voted out of committee tomorrow. The train is about to take off. So I think if we're going to take a position on that, we probably are going to need to take a position fairly soon. And I would probably going to ask Russell to maybe develop some sort of a position statement and consider putting it on the agenda for the next week or so.
So, and that will be as it relates to HB2 and SB2.
Yes.
And we'll also have one, you all asked us to do some research on 705 by Guerin, and we will have a statement for you all on that also next week.
Okay. Anything else?
No, not on that particular item. If there's no questions, then we'll move to item C. This is an update and a presentation on the 2006 Capital Improvements Program. It deals with the Juvenile Center Ms. Pelly is here to address the court at this time.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Bailey.
Okay, this morning's briefing is a presentation on the design development and capital budget for the 2006 Capital Improvements Program Juvenile Center project. In April of last year, the court approved the schematic design and capital budget of the base project plus additions for the project. The design development phase commenced thereafter and came to conclusion last month. There have been no project scope changes in the design development phase. The new courts building and detention addition is planned to be constructed to the east of the existing facility. New visitor and secure staff parking, along with site improvements, will also be provided. With the additions approved in the schematic design phase, the new courts building will be a 70,230 square foot single level, level building that will house 1 district court suite, 3 associate court suites, 1 future district court suite, criminal district's attorney juvenile division, criminal district attorney CPS unit, district clerk juvenile division, and juvenile service offices for court clerk, court intake, and victims assistance. And the detention portion will be a 36,379 square foot addition that contains 2 housing units with recreation rooms, 4 classrooms, and a common multi-purpose room. The total capital budget, as established last year, is $45,121,374. The funding for the project shows that the additional $6.8 million that was approved last year, we broke it up into over 2 years. So $5 million was approved in the 2019 budget, and we will be requesting the additional $1.8 in the 2020 budget. So the design development estimate was first received in October with a construction cost that was $2.9 million over the targeted schematic design estimate. The project team has worked diligently over the last several months to address the excess costs. The 2 main areas contributing to the excess cost were finishes and the high construction market. We have been able to reduce finish costs by changing such things as the ceiling type styles, flooring type styles, and reducing wood paneling in courtrooms from full height to wainscot. With the project being pretty much reduced to essentials, the team then looked at including add alternates to the project. The recommended additions from the schematic design were referred back to. In an attempt to not reduce square footage and services for the projects, the items 1 through 6A were maintained in the project scope, which would be the base project, and items 6B through 10 were priced as add alternates to the project. Well, let me go back. Okay, referring to 6A, referring to number 9, the increased canopy size. This was the schematic design rendering of the front of the building with the canopy. Under the add alternates portion, this would become the add, and this would become the base contract. So it reduces the canopy by half.
And also reduces the number of windows. Number of what? Windows.
No.
Piers. I don't know.
Well, the piers. You ought to reduce number of piers. No windows. It's just the canopy over the front of the building. See where all the columns are? So it just reduces the canopy.
How much money did you save
For the canopies. I have to look at that. The canopies, about $88,000, reducing it in half.
That's an ad alternate, right?
That's an ad. Yes, that is an ad alternate.
So it's not in the base bid, but they will also bid that, and then the court make a decision depending on how much money that we have available, if you want to do that or not.
Yes, correct. So with the reduction of the finished savings and implementation of ad alternates, we are still a little over $1 million short of where we need to be. However, we are moving forward with the completion of the bid documents and plan to advertise the project in late May, early June, and we'll work through the bids as we need to make sure that we bring in a project that was within the project scope that was approved last year. We do anticipate to bring the guaranteed maximum price to court in late August, early September, with a project completion in fall of 2021. After construction begins, the court will be provided with monthly project updates, similar to what was provided on the other 2006 capital improvement projects. Any questions?
Yeah, so you think you're $1 million short after we've added the 6.8, is that right?
That is correct. Yes.
But you're going to attempt to make that up.
We are.
After you bid it,
value engineering.
And all that.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
So do you still have the $2.1 million in this budget for contingency?
We do.
And the 2006 funds that we had, when we first started this thing out in 2006, we thought we were going to spend $36 million.
I don't know if I have that.
That's correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
And we had and then we've had interest earnings on that $36 million, because I guess we borrowed the money, but we didn't spend it.
The interest earnings were more than just the off the 36.
It's how much we've got left over the total project.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, again, that was a lot of years ago, 13. And I'm sure we had. Do we have any idea when we originally came up with the 36, when we thought we were going to build this thing?
It's my understanding they were hoping to start this project when the jail started, and that was in 2010.
So we estimated based upon a 2010 build date, and we're now at a 2019 or 2020 before. So I mean, I'm not, and I think when we addressed this last summer. When did we approve the $6 million?
April of last year.
You know, at that point in time, we said, okay, we're looking at this, and we made sure that we didn't tone down or cut down on what we were doing, and I think that's when we approved the 6, but we still weren't absolutely sure. And I think now what we're finding is we may have to put another $1 million into it, and I'm okay with that. It just, if no other reason, it's been 13 years.
Yeah. Well, construction was pretty high in 2006, cost, and then it went down.
Yeah.
In 2010 would have been a great time to build this building.
That is correct.
Because we had saved money, but then it went back up. And now it's higher than it was in 2006.
And there were
significant.
And there were some scope changes to this project, because at one time the original scope included a fairly large educational building, and the state law changed, and we didn't need to provide that educational building. We added additional space for the district attorney's office to bring the CPS group over to this particular building. Miss Wilson had requested that, so there's been takeaways and there's been additions to this.
So let me be sure I think I know where we are right now.
And there's one more thing to consider, Judge.
Go ahead.
We made the same pledge on this bond issue that we made on the hospital district bond issue. That we would schedule the debt in such a way that we didn't have to raise the tax rate.
Correct, very much so. Now, I want to be sure I understand the funding for the project, you're saying is $45,121,000 right now.
Yes.
And that includes, if I drop to the next page, that includes everything but 6B, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Correct.
So we're going to do alternates on all three of those. How much contingency do we have in the 45?
We have a little over 2 million, 2.1?
2.1 million.
2.1.
Okay. So we've got 2.1, depending upon how everything goes, we're going to get alternate. We're going to at least bid out these remaining 5 things.
Yes.
And when would we know when those, or what those amounts would be?
Probably in July.
Before we actually sign our contract and all that stuff go forward.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I just think I would say we come back to that and look at it in July and see whether or not we think we just need to go ahead and get it done or not. But,
okay.
And Benny, whatever your thinking and your thought is on that deal is going to weigh heavily, I think, for me on that deal. So at this point, we need to. This is a briefing item, so we don't need to take an action, or do we need to?
No action requested. It's just to bring it back to the court to give you an update.
Let's get it built. Not wait another 13 years.
One final question. What are clear stories? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
So they're windows that are up high around the facade.
Go back to the drawing and point them out.
Well, they're not going to be on here.
And then in the juvenile detention area?
Yes, and we had them in the courtrooms too. So if the walls like popped up high, you would have the windows kind of around that pop up around the perimeter of the building.
Hopefully high enough so nobody can kick them out and escape.
That is correct. Yes.
That's kind of the purpose for having them in the high clear story.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Well, are there any current buildings, county buildings that you can point to that have them?
The existing detention housing units have clear stories. They do. Yes. Yeah. I can send a picture for you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, I'll do it.
She'd probably go out and I'll bet Benny'd give her a tour.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right.
Thank you.
That it?
Yes. Do we do the claims? We haven't done the claims yet. That's all the briefing. I don't believe we've done the claims yet.
That's probably a good thing to do.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion to second to approve the claims, including the addendum. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously, so now they can pay the bills.
That's correct, Your Honor. That's all we have at this time.
Then we'll recess our open meeting and proceed to close to discuss items exempted under sections 551.071, 072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government Code. Having returned from our closed session, we'll now address the following matter.
We are requesting the approval of a waiver of terminal benefits for Constable Precinct 4. This will be effective February 11th, The incumbent left service on January 4th with 320 hours. We are requesting the waiver of the remaining 120 hours. This should be a net savings of approximately $1,100, including fringe.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion is second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes
Thank you.
unanimous.
That's on Constable Precinct 4, isn't it?
Yes.
With one abstention.
Your Honor, we're requesting that.
Yes, we would also like to pass a motion to, or I'd like to move that we receive and file a personnel agenda. No. Receive and file employee recognition.
Second.
Yeah, well, please vote. We did it. Bye.
That's all we have at this time.
Bye.
We're adjourned. That's what that is.
That means we're adjourned.